All of you must heard of a word called inflation. The word is dominating every newspapers and the magazine in today's time because the whole world is about to slip under the recession because of the acute inflationary effect which is taking every market of the world surprisingly, especially the European market and the market of the United States. Surprisingly, the European market bearing the effect of inflation too hard. The reason behind this European debacle is not only the inflation, but there is another reason behind it, and that reason is heatflation. Because the vicious heat waves are sweeping parts of the globe, especially the Western Europe, and along with the dangers with the blazing hot temperatures causing the wildfire, dehydration, and even death. The hot weather is pushing prices of the food high, along with the health calamity. In this way, the heatflation is making the inflation even worse. So in this topic, we will going to talk about the heat wave calamity across the Europe and how heatflation is pushing European market at the brink of the collapse. Heat waves are not very common phenomenon in Europe because the Europe lies between 30 degree north to 60 degree north latitude, even beyond 60 degree north latitude. So cold waves are very common phenomenon in this part of the world, but heat waves are a bit unusual. The Europe is experiencing its worst ever heat wave in centuries. The temperature reaching record levels in several countries. The scorching sun is causing temperature above 40 degrees centigrade, and in last few days, the heat caused more than 1,000 people dead in European continent. The condition of the United Kingdom is worst. Its temperature reading already touched 40.3 degrees centigrade, which is the highest ever recorded temperature in Britain. The UK's previous recorded temperature was 38.7 degrees centigrade in 2019. But this year's sweltering heat disrupting every essential services in UK that includes school, healthcare and travel. The trains are running slowly out of concern that rail could buckle. The signal system and the roads are melting because of extreme heat. London's Luton airport had to close its runway because of heat damage. The grassland fires erupted on the edge of the London. Not only UK, Spain, France, Portugal, Italy, Germany, Denmark all are facing heat waves. In Spain, 829 people lost their life. In Denmark, the temperature is 35.4 degrees centigrade. Anyway, Denmark is on the safe side because Denmark's highest ever recorded temperature is 36.4 degrees centigrade in 1975. In Germany, temperature reached 40 degrees centigrade. Italy is also under heat pain. This heat wave is causing wildfire across the Europe, especially the Western Europe. More than 20 wildfires are burning in Spain, France, Portugal, Italy and UK. The firefighters are fighting relentlessly to douse the flame. The forests are burning. The fields full of crops are burning. The condition of France, Spain and Portugal are deteriorating. In France, the famous Dune de Pilat, a famous attraction of the France western coast, is shrouded in smoke. 6,500 hectares of forest have been burned so far near the dune, an area 12 km long and 7 km wide, with another 12,800 hectares lost to separate and the bigger fire further inland to the east. 30,000 people have been forced to abandon their homes in France. In Spain, heat wave caused 2 lakh hectares of land because of wildfire. 2 people have been reported dead. Italy's Sicily is also facing extreme heat wave due to its proximity to Sahara. The heat waves are not only burning the fields full of crops, it is also affecting production of crops in this season. The persistent drought have left rivers and the reservoir running so low that they are exposing ancient artifacts. Waterborne mammals and the fishes are dying. These are causing the food shortages across the Europe. The world was already facing food shortages due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian special military operation against Ukraine. Over that, the heat wave putting extra pressure on the food shortages all across the globe and the Europe. As the heat is rising every day in Europe, it is causing extreme weather cycle with lasting effect. This is reducing the food production and causing the heat inflation. Usually the hot temperature causing the smaller harvest and rising the food prices. Because of heat wave, the agricultural production in Europe will be reduced by 30 to 40%. Throughout the Europe, the July's heat wave hit during the crucial pollination window for maize crops, threatening a reduced overall harvest and increasing the import needs. The maize production in the Europe is basically depends upon the Ukraine, which is under the wire, and the rest, France, Italy and the Romania are facing the weather calamity. Not only maize production has been hit, but the production of rice, corn and the cereals are also hit. The France produces 57.5 million tons of cereal of Europe, which is the highest in Europe. After France, the count goes to Germany and then Poland. But the cereals production has also been hit badly because of the scorching sun. Beside the food production, the dairy production has also been hit hard. The cost of livestock farming has also been risen exponentially in the heat because cattle do not like heat. To cool the cattle off, the farmers are forced to keep their cattle at the cool places. The cool places mean warehouses with air conditioning. The air condition need energy. And in Europe, energy has already hit its zenith because of the Russian energy embargo. So the inflation is piling up and up to the heaven. Anyway, heat-induced stress animals behave erratically, and because of that, the milk production reduces. So Europe will face milk shortages too. The egg shortages will be added to it because heat causing chickens to lay the fewer eggs. The heat-flation is not only causing problem in Europe, it is also causing problem in China, India, Africa and South American nations. Because of heat, the China's agro production has been reduced. Heat forced India to put the ban on its wheat export. West and the Central Africa have been facing drought since 2021. Argentina is also facing heat. So these are the very common phenomenon happening all around the world. But the heatflation and the inflation is percolating slowly into the global economy. The European Central Bank raised its interest rate by 50 basis points for the first time in 11 years. The interest rate on the main refinancing operations and the rates on the marginal lending facility and the deposit facility will rise to 0.5%, 0.75% and 0% respectively. The UK's inflation hits highest since 1982 and it stands now at 9.4%, which is the highest among all G7 countries. The Asian Development Bank cuts GDP forecast from 5.2% to 4.6% for all developing nations of the region. The US, the champion of democracy and the free speech, is also facing acute inflation. The US inflation rate is around 8.6%, which is highest since 1981. The US Federal Reserve has already increased interest rate by 100 basis points, but still they are planning to increase it another 75 basis points. So this is the clear probability of recession, and recently the experts are warning the US that the 40% chance are there the US will be in the recession by the end of the 2022. The condition of Africa is also very shaky. Angola and Gabon sovereign bond are trending at distress level. South American inflation has also reached 13 years high, reaching 7.4% year on year. This is above analyst prediction of 7.2% and up from 6.5% in May. Japan, the Asia's most stable economy, is also slowing down. It has reached a trade deficit for an 11th month in June. The Japan's currency, yen, is also losing its value against the dollar. This is increasing the country's import bill. Among all this global calamity, surprisingly Russia is doing very well. Russian ruble is strengthening day by day, and it slashes key interest rate by 150 basis points while the others are increasing. So the world is in a very bad shape and in a very delicate condition. It looks like everyone is suffering and the chaos is everywhere, like the mathematical theory of chaos, because the world is losing money, losing its climate and also losing its economy. The heatflation is basically the spillover effect of global warming. There are other reasons that are causing inflation, but the heat is one of the main factors which can single-handedly eliminate human existence from the earth. If the heat will reduce the food production, then it will automatically reduce the number of population. And if heat will increase concurrently year after year, then the world won't have any population. That will automatically decimate and obliterate the world economy. Now the questions. The first question is, the National Flag Day is celebrated in which day in India? The first option is July 18, second option is July 22, third is July 24, fourth is July 25. The second question, which is the venue of the ISRO's Human Space Flight Expo? The first option is New Delhi, second option is Bangalore, third option is Ernakulam, fourth option is Visakhapatnam. So this is the end of the topic. If you have any question regarding this topic or any other kinds of inquiry, then you can mail me to my email address, which is tuhin.pawar.academy@gmail.com. So thank you very much. Thank you for your support. I hope you will going to find this topic very informative.